Today at Manchester Theatres, I am thrilled to be joined by one of the most popular and hardworking people in musical theatre, the incredible Alice Fearn, who is going to be joining us at the Bridgewater Hall on the 29th of December for a concert with the Hallé orchestra, all about the music of Queen. Now, we all know and love Alice from many shows, including Come From Away, Wicked, Into the Woods, Shrek. The list goes on. She has been in so many feature films, including Mamma Mia, again, Les Mis, and of course, the big Wicked that is currently doing the globe, playing Glinda's mum. But we have so much more going on as well with Alice, also coming to Manchester on the 20th for a big musicals concert at the Co-op Live, and currently in the middle of a UK tour of Dear Evan Hansen as well, coming to Manchester in February. So I have no idea how you've managed to find the time for this chat today, Alice, but I'm really grateful that you have. So thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So in between all of this that you've got going on, someone says to you, yeah, do you want to do a concert in the middle of Christmas and New Year? What makes you say yes to a concert like this instead of saying, I'm going to have a day off?
Well, there's probably a few answers, if I'm truthful about that. One, I can't ever say no. That's sort of a problem of mine. But I think, in all honesty, very rarely do you get to sing the kind, well, especially Queen material. It's quite sort of rare that you get to sing that level of sort of Queen material, and that amount of it in a concert form in this sort of level and with the orchestra that we're playing with. And that's quite rare. And I think sometimes I forget that because I get the chance to do a lot of these concerts, especially during December. As you say, I've got quite a few concerts coming up, and December seems to be a bumper kind of month, obvious reasons. But yeah, when you're in musicals, say in London or on the UK tour, your orchestra is a lot smaller than what we use in these concerts. I'm talking between 6 to maybe 12, 15 in those kind of concerts, and suddenly you get to these ones with the Hallé, or if I was up with the Northern Symphonia last week, and suddenly you're at 60, and that's quite incredible. So I think you've got to sort of take those opportunities when you can. If you get offered them, you've got to go and sing these incredible songs and this incredible material with that kind of orchestra. Quite rare.
Yeah, and there's yourself, and then there's 3 other singers, isn't there, as well? So we've got Nicole Raquel Dennis, and Alex
Gaumond as well, and Nick Stone. Yeah,
that's it. So have you worked with any of those before? Does it?
Well, actually, Nicole, I've done quite a few concerts with over the last couple of years, so she's they've become a good pal in that sense. But I've never actually done a show or anything with them. Mm-hmm. So, but Alex Gaumond, actually, I have. So. I'm terrifyingly, I think it's nearly over 10 years ago now that I actually worked with him, which obviously it seems like yesterday, but and we did a show called Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And he played Freddie in that, and so yeah, we worked for quite a while together on that, so that was great, and it's lovely to sort of see him again. And he did We Will Rock You, which is obviously the Queen musical we're basically for quite a while. So he did Town, and then he did a tour version of the show. So he really, really knows this Queen. Yeah. And I never saw him play the role. I only know him from what I did with him. So it's really interesting to go and hear him sing this kind of material, because he's done it so much in that format. So it's really nice to sort of hear what he would have done with it.
So when you get like a concert like this, then there's 4 different singers coming together, and obviously, as you've said, one has performed it in its musical theatre form. Do you kind of get to pick which songs you're doing, or is it kind of, are you told, or do people come with, I want to do that one, or is it kind of what fits your wheelhouse?
I think there is a bit of I think there's a little bit of leeway. I think if you sat there and went, I absolutely can't sing, I can't sing it, or B, I don't want to, I don't like it, it's not, it's my least favourite Queen song of all time. Mm-hmm. I think then the people who sort of put these together, West International, would be generous and go, okay, what if I switched it with this on that and the other end? So I've been in other, not this concert, but not the Queen concert, but the other concerts, I've sort of done that and said, oh, that's not for me, that one, and they've been very generous and let me change it. But more or less, the music is kind of set. They've got their lists of songs they want to do, they want to hit, and so it's about divvying them up. Yeah. And also, like, without getting too musical in it, there are certain keys
Mm.
that we sing in, and they are going to be suited to certain voice types, and so they do cast the 4 singers with that in mind as well. I mean, with Queen, essentially, we all just have to be, big belters and high tenor. So it kind of just has to be that. But yeah, there is a little bit of leeway. But I mean, really, with the Queen material, that's what's joyous about it, is there's not really any dud ones in there. Like, they're all. So you could have probably given me any of them. And there was one I didn't know, actually, that I had got. I mean, I've done this Queen concert before, so I did. And they gave me "Save Me," which I had never heard before. But I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll learn it. It's fine. And that it's become one of my absolute favorites. So I'm like, oh, it's such a beautiful song. I'm so pleased I'm singing it. So sometimes you have to sort of, keep your mind open to maybe not knowing the songs, but actually you get a new favorite from that, in that kind of way.
Yeah. I mean, Queen are my favorite band, so I'm doubly excited about this. It's like musical theatre meets Queen. I just love it. And with that in mind, we've said there's the We Will Rock You, there's Bohemian Rhapsody, the film, there's concerts like this. There's so many variants of Queen's music. What kind are we going to get in this concert? Is it a mixture? Is it kind of pure Queen rock, or the way that they intended it, or do we have the musical theatre influences from the We Will Rock You musical?
I don't think we have many of the musical aspects that you talk of. What we do is we do the duet version of Who Wants to Live Forever, which was quite famously done in the show, because they turned it into kind of like a love duet. So we do that version, but really more than anything, we stay true to the Queen's original. And I think why it really works in this setting with the orchestra is because Freddie was so obsessed with like operatic quality music, and he wrote. I mean, Bohemian Rhapsody is a classic example of that. And it was it was very, very new, and obviously everyone spoke about it, just going, "That's never going to work." And of course, it worked unbelievably well. So when you add an orchestra into that music and you orchestrate it fully with this massive orchestra, you suddenly go, God, you can tell where it was written, you can tell what you're thinking, you can tell what they were all sort of playing towards. So it works very, very well in this setting. So although it's absolutely got the rock edge to it, of course it has, because it's Queen. I think you'll find that in a way it's being written as intended by Freddie, and it's being played as intended by Freddie in this context, because it's incredible how many of the songs really suit a full string section, a massive percussion section, it's quite extraordinary actually when you hear it full out.
And I think that's the thing with Queen and their music. The vision was always so much bigger than we're a rock band, or we're this band, or they just refuse to. I mean, they cover, like rock and country and opera and all these different things, like you've said. I mean, how you've talked about the full orchestra and all of that. How technically difficult is it for singers to wrap their heads around what's required of you?
Yeah, you sort of do need to change up your voice a little bit. I mean, one of our guys that do it, he has to sing "It's a Hard Life," and there's that opening of "It's a Hard Life" where it's da da da, and it's like an opera sort of like soliloquy at the start. And I was sitting there going, "It's extraordinary that anyone is tasked beyond Freddie Mercury to sing that, really, because there's very few people that can do it."
Yeah.
So it is a bit of a challenge. Yeah, it is a huge challenge, this kind of material. And you are definitely, making sure that warm-up is correct. You're as flexible as you can be. And that hopefully, ideally, you've got a day off the next day. Because just to recover. But, I think, listen, it's cast well so that we make sure that, we've got the right vocalists, to pull off Freddie's vocals. I went to see Queen with Adam Lambert as their lead singer a couple of years live, and I don't know how he does an entire show of that material, because that is something else. And when I got to the end of it, I feel exhausted for him. That is extraordinary. The performance aspect that he brought, I think he really does throw himself into it, and really does very much dedicate a performance there to Freddie. It was extraordinary what he did, and his vocals just absolutely blew me away. He had a show the next night. They had another one the next night. And I just went, if he can do an entire set list of Queen material on his own with the band, I can go and do as being one of 4. I think I need to take stock and realize that I can do I can do a couple of songs of it. But yeah, I mean, you didn't need to be a certain type of vocalist, but we've got a good cast for that.
Yeah. So if you could sing any Queen song with kind of the original lineup with Freddie there and everything, which one would you choose, do you think?
I think I'd love to do a duet of Who Wants to Live Forever with him. That's beautiful. But I think it has to be Bohemian Rhapsody. I mean, because it's fascinating when you break it down to what they wrote there. It's so random. It's so off the wall. It so shouldn't work. Is the point of it, and yet it's so satisfying to sing. It's so much fun. It's never not received, brilliantly.
Yeah.
I think, oh gosh, yeah, just to play that with people would just be crazy. I think that's amazing.
It is. It's so many different. I mean, we've talked about Queen have different like styles with their music, from Crazy Little Thing Called Love to Who Wants to Live Forever, but that has it all in one song. It's insane.
It's insane. It really is. I mean, how he had the vision to create that. Really, I really don't. It does blow my mind a little bit how he thought that was going to work. But listen, the greats don't question it, and there we go. And that's why he's one.
There we go. Yeah. Well, talking of the greats, this whole thing is taking place, as we've mentioned, with the Hallé Orchestra, who you have done work with before. And I'm just wondering if you could kind of cherry pick what your future projects would be with the Hallé. What would you like to look at? What would you like to do?
Oh, I think, to be honest, I do such enjoy concert work. And the thing is, actually, when I mentioned before, when musical theatre, when we do shows, when I'm doing Dear Evan Hansen, or when I do Wicked in Town or Come From Away, our orchestras are much smaller. Now they're perfectly formed and it's brilliant and it's fun. But a lot of music, not necessarily Come From Away, maybe that's a different beast, but a lot of the music, especially Wicked, I would say, was written with orchestras in mind, and of course they just don't have that ability to have that massive orchestra every single night. They can't pay for that. So I think to get the chance to sing material from different eras and different genres and different musicals with a giant orchestra is actually what I would love my future to be, because I don't get that. No matter if I get cast in something, you don't always get that massive orchestra. No. If you went to see the Wicked movie at the moment, you'll hear, if you can take your eyes off what's happening on the screen and listen to the music, they've orchestrated that with a giant orchestra, and it's absolutely breathtaking.
Yeah.
Able to do things like Defying Gravity when I do them in other concerts, with that orchestra, you just suddenly go, gosh, you can remember why this was written for this kind of level of sound.
Yeah.
And that's always very exciting. And so I think, continuing to sing, these songs that I wouldn't necessarily get this orchestra with is always going to be something that I want to do. Gosh, I'd just love to take it around the world as well. Who would, one of my big things, I'd love to sing at the Sydney Opera House, because I just think it's just so iconic, and I would just love to go over there and sing with a giant orchestra. I think it would be an icing on the cake of my concert work to date. But yeah, I think you have to remember that even like the old stuff, like If I Loved You or Carousel, Oklahoma, all of that stuff was written for giant orchestras, and we don't get to use those as much anymore. So when we do get to sing along with them, it's very, very special.
Yeah, and it does. You feel it. It's like, it's bizarre. It's you do feel the difference, like the hairs on your arms. You feel the reverberations. So as well as it's sounding different, you physically feel it as well as an audience member as well. And as an audience member, I was going to ask you, you've got so much going on. I feel I need to put a plea out for you to the people on the front row to keep you going. So what do we need to bring you? Do we need to bring you chocolates, wine, caffeine?
Oh gosh, yeah, definitely. I'm sponsored by caffeine at the minute. I think I'm running on I'm running on caffeine and vitamin C tablets. Yeah, it's whatever. Gosh, after eights, Christmas time for me, after eights and Ferrero Rochers are high on my list of must-haves. But yeah, no, I think as long as I can see audiences appreciating it, I think there is nothing worse. If you're working very, very hard and you're tired and you're singing your heart out, and then you sort of get a very sort of tepid response.
Yes.
Which, is very polite and very English, I will say. But, when you sort of get that, you sort of go, oh, have you enjoyed it? I don't know. And now I'm losing the will, because if you're not enjoying it, and so it sort of falls apart from then on. So I think as long as I can see an audience that are loving it and experience it and getting emotion out of it, I think then that drives me forward.
Well, I will be there, and I will be more than happy to lead the cheers and the whoops and the wolf whistles. I'm on it. Team Alice. So before we let you go, Alice, it's on the 29th of December at the Bridgewater Hall with the Hallé Orchestra. If people decide, because it's that weird week in between Christmas and New Year's, and everyone's kind of in a pajama turkey curry kind of don't want to get out of the pajamas funk, why should they kind of shed all of that off, brush themselves off, and come out and watch? What are they going to be missing if they don't?
Well, you very rarely get to hear this, as I've said.
Yeah.
You very rarely hear this music done like this with this caliber of people as well. I'm not talking about myself, but I'm talking about West End leading people that have sung this material, that do it justice, and have done this around the globe. And you will never hear this kind of music done with this kind of orchestra live in this kind of setting. It's very rare. So if you can, put even just a jumper on, do you know what I mean, and just come along, and you won't be disappointed with that. And I have to, for me, it's more how rare it is to get this kind of orchestra on this kind of material. It's once, maybe twice, a year at best. So you have to take these opportunities when you can, and hopefully you're off. And listen, it's Christmas, we've got to celebrate, right? So treat yourself.
Absolutely. There you go. Perfect. Treat yourself. Come along to this fabulous show. You can catch it, as we've said, at the Bridgewater Hall on the 29th of December, one night only. Queen with the Hallé Orchestra and Alice Fearn. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it, and we will see you really, really soon. It's not long to go.
No, not long. Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Not long. Thank you. Take care.